Night. Look at that. It
Wow.
took like 10 seconds from hit go to I got a preview. Like, that never happens.
We can't even blame Linux tonight.
Can't even blame Linux. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 343. Your once weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm Rett.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Spotify or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, sometimes some Star Trek. All super chats are read on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel, although an even better way to help support the channel is, and yes, I'm going to mention this plug right at the top of the hour just to get a smile out of Go Create Tech. Head on over to craftcomputing.store, pick up one of our nucleated, laser-engraved pint glasses that was designed and made right here in-house. These are absolutely fantastic. We've got everything from coasters and whiskey stones to bottle openers to coffee tumblers, minimalist wallets. We got a lot. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my Discord server where you can chat with myself, John, Rett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there. I got through that whole thing without getting tongue-tied, and I have no idea because I could feel my tongue being like a half beat behind so many different words. But hey, we're live.
We did it.
We did it. How's it going today? Good, sir?
It's going. It's going, you know? That's all I can say about that.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard, mateys.
Yeah. Hope everyone's having a fantastic week. Hope the stresses of everything aren't getting to people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot. There's been a lot of, life and stuff that have happened since last week, so...
There's been a lot of life, a lot of strife, a lot of, oh dear God, the world is falling, the sky is falling. But hey, we can only control what we can control, right? So glad you're here on a Wednesday where we can drink beer and talk about some much more simple things.
That's funny because I was going to be like, and guys, and our promise to you is that we will shine a magnifying glass on it and exacerbate everything for 2 hours straight. Buckle up.
Buckle up. It's going to be a good one. We're going to be all political tonight. No, we strive to be as politics free as possible. Life does happen. That's inevitable. These are issues that affect us all. I can guarantee we're not talking about that tonight, though. So,
wow,
we are going to be talking about an issue that does affect us, specifically here in the review space. That took up my entire title tonight because this needs to be talked about. And even though this situation appears to be on the mend as of like 6 hours ago, with the party involved figuring out that they were the jackasses in the situation, this still needs to be talked about. It needs to be brought to the surface. It needs to be dissected. It needs to be shown an example of how this is so incredibly damaging to consumer reviews, to independent reviews, to people like me and people like you who trust my reviews for products that you buy, for recommendations, for things that you want to purchase. This is not good. And we're going to talk about it. And then we've got a whole bunch of AI, smaller AI topics. AI using things that they shouldn't be using. Again, we've got, and then some consumer opinions on AI as well. Anyway, if any Wednesday it felt like I needed a beer, this is definitely it.
Oh, yeah.
I would like a beer. Rhett, what are you drinking tonight? Good sir?
Well, Jeff, I'm not going to let a glass get in my way. I never do, if I can help it. But I'm drinking from all the way from the deep south of Oregon, covered in a smoky haze at this very moment, Ashland, Oregon. It is the 541 IPA from Caldera Brewing. Of course, I've had this on the show before. It was a good Southern Oregon beverage. It's got a picture of Bigfoot on the can. And I guess we'll just go for it. 541, of course, legendary for being the Greater Oregon area code. Those of us in civilized Oregon, we have 503, but down in the wilds of Southern Oregon, where they brew this delectable beer, it's 541. Thus is born the 541 IPA.
Yeah, I was originally a 503 kid, as were all of us who were born here in Oregon, and then the Portland Metro got carved off from the rest of Oregon and became the only 503 block, and then everything south of Salem, and then also east of I-5. So basically 3/4 of the state became a new area code that was 541. And I lived in Eugene at the time of that split, so I went 503, 541, 503.
Oof,
I don't know why that's funny, but
I'm 503 born and bred, baby.
Yep.
You know?
I've lived on both sides, so.
Sure. Sure.
So I've got a couple brews out in front of me today. Is Mike D in the chat? I haven't seen him yet. Hopefully he shows up, because I'm going to drink a beer that he sent me. This is from Bluesky, up in, was this Montreal? Yeah, Montreal. This is the Hop Finder Double Dry Hop IPA. This one is using I tried to combine the words. Citra, Nelson Sauvin, Hopkeep, New Zealand Cascade. So Cascade hops, so the Northwest Washington, Oregon hop strain, but grown in New Zealand, which is kind of fun. And then shipped to Montreal and then back to Oregon. But 8%. And the can art is just wicked on this thing.
Sorry, I meant to say that looks great, but I put my mic down. So it looks great. The can art was noticeable the moment you held it up.
Yes. Let's see in the chat. Jason right off, I see, has a Deschutes Obsidian Stout. Fantastic brew from over in Bend, Oregon, and the gateway to so many people's dark beer obsessions. That is such a good beer. Someone's saying some weird bitrate drops in the video today. Is anyone else seeing that?
Linux.
Let me know if anyone else is seeing any stream issues. It looks fine on my end.
Yeah. There could be too. I mean, I don't think I'm definitely not causing any issues, but I've got the camera further away from me than normal, and I notice it's hunting for focus a little bit extra tonight. So
yeah,
I'm moving
OBS
it
says it might be dropping a couple frames here and there. That's interesting. Let me see if I can just tweak a couple things here on the fly. Hopefully that
it's got to be the red flag warning.
It's got to be. Yeah.
It's got to be. There's no other explanation.
Yeah.
We're under fire watch here.
Yeah, the weather gods are trying to burn down the state. Yeah, we're under a red flag. Started yesterday. Yesterday morning, all of a sudden, we got like emergency alerts going, thunderstorms and 50-mile-an-hour winds rolling in. Oh, and it hasn't rained in 3 months.
Yeah.
So
I did see some lightning last night before going to bed. So I didn't hear any thunder, but I saw the lightning. So that was kind of
we had some sheet lightning going on over here. So yeah, no, it's just all kinds of anxiety-inducing things happening around here.
I like this. Larry says there's a whole area code for the entire region, like a whole region of your state. My city has 2, and I'm the 4th largest city in my state. That's unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Technically, I think like with cell phones becoming more popular, we did introduce 971, but that's not like you'll never see anybody with a landline with that one.
Right. 971 is an exclusively mobile area code that exists statewide. So in the 80s and 90s, like a lot of smaller states, I mean, Oregon is back then was only like 4 million people still. And even today is like 5.5. It's not like we exploded in size in the last 40 years. Oregon had one area code and it was 503, which means if you're dialing locally, you just dial 7 numbers. And in fact, there were
Yeah.
some municipalities and city-run telephone companies that you could just dial the last 5. You didn't even have to dial all 7. So that was totally a thing.
Yeah.
And then sometime around, I want to say it was between 98 and 2000, they introduced a second area code to Oregon. And where I was at, we got the new area code. We got the 541, which was everything outside. So basically, they took Portland, Salem, and then the northern Oregon coast. So Astoria down through
Lincoln City.
Cannon Beach, almost Lincoln City. Yeah, Lincoln City, I think, became 503 or stayed 503. But everything south of there, so Newport and south, south of Salem, so Albany and south, and then everything east of I-5 became 541. But down there, we could still dial just the 7. We didn't have to dial unless we were dialing Portland, in which we would have to do the full 10. Now it's everyone has to dial the full 10. Chaos, cats and dogs sleeping with each other, you know.
Dude, I remember when they started making us dial 10 digits because I got out of school and I was supposed to call my dad and be like, hey, come pick me up over here at the youth center or whatever.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get through to him. It just kept ringing. And I was like, what the heck? And the school secretary helped me. And she's like, what the heck? What's going on? We couldn't do it. My dad got off work, went down to the youth center, and he was so mad I didn't call him. And I was like, I tried. The number wouldn't go through. And so he tried. And of course, same thing. And he was like, what the hell? Nobody had any idea that day we were supposed to start dialing 10 digits. And I feel like that was also the day that all phone numbers became almost unrememberable to me. Like 7 digits, I could memorize 1,000 of them. 10 digits, game over. I'm done.
I still remember the dozen or so phone numbers that I knew offhand from when I was a kid, because back then you just memorized phone numbers. You didn't keep an address book. You just knew them because you dialed them all the time.
Yep. Sometimes I still got that muscle memory too. Like if I use a real phone, like that has buttons, the muscle memory will kick in. I remember I was inviting one of my friend's parents to my wedding, and this is 10 years ago, but I could not remember their number. And I was thinking to myself, what is it? And so I went to my dad's house. I picked up his physical phone and I just dialed it. And it was like, as soon as I had the actual buttons and the things in my hand, it was like, there it is. Found it. Remembered it. The fingers knew. But there you go. There's the Oregon experience with area codes.
Hot area code talk here on Talking Heads. Is chat working? Yes, I see you, Daryl. Let's see. Yeah, Novello Hub's got flood warnings up where he's at. Yeah, frame rates are bad tonight. Is the frame rate better? So I tweaked a couple of things. Let me know if things are better. Could have been just a weird encoding thing. I haven't changed anything in almost 3 months now. Same PC, same settings. But who knows? I lowered it slightly, ever so slightly, and that seemed to go green on OBS after that, but we'll see. Anyway, let me say we get into it. I was going to give a couple more shout outs. There was a couple good beers that I saw. John Jay's got a Raging Furious by Surly. Imperial Double 11%. 3.9 out of 5 on Untapped. Zachary's, Zach, Mr. Yocto's trying to get me to buy an Epic 9554. We found a pretty good deal on Amazon. Little does he know, I already have an Epic 9554. I'm actually touching it right now. Well, touching the motherboard it's on. So yeah, hot Epic content coming soon. Magic Rat says it's Woodford Bourbon Night. That sounds wonderful. Novella's got a Treehouse Brewing Galactic Storm Double IPA. I think I have a Treehouse on deck. So yeah. Skull's got a Black Stack and Toppling Goliath collab. That sounds Wonderful. Pseudoscience. So a pseudo-sue variant, double dry hopped IPA. That sounds freaking incredible. Yeah. Fun times.
Woohoo!
Jason says it's smoothed out there. Change settings. Everything breaks down now. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully.
And I figured out my issue too. So, I mean, yeah, I was in photo mode. Yeah, I was.
Every time.
I don't know how or why, but I was in photo mode. So there we go.
Sorry, one sec. There we go. Let's try that. Let's dive into today's story. So I'm going to preface this story by saying I am not an audiophile. I don't exist in that space. I may get a couple of minor facts incorrect in this. I did do my best at writing a very quick synopsis so I could briefly cover some things. The things that I'm covering in this segment right here are not going to be highly technical. I will reference some technical things. Know that they are outside of my expertise. I am simply taking the situation as I can deliver it, and I am going to be delivering my subjective opinions on the situation, much like I would deliver a subjective review for a product that I was reviewing. There's a lot of symmetry that's going to go on here. Don't get stuck because I flub one technical detail and ignore 99% of the bulk of what I'm saying. Understand? By the way, that goes for my reviews too, not just for this one segment. Anyway.
I'll do my best.
Golden Sound. Golden Sound is a YouTube channel ran by Cameron. And Cameron reviews audiophile gear. High-end audiophile amplifiers, digital audio converters, headphone amps, speakers, etc. And back in 2021, he did a review of the DCS Bartok, which is a $15,000 general-purpose DAC. It is a digital audio converter that is meant to take audio from your PC and turn it into analog output, and you're supposed to be able to enjoy the sound. $15,000 worth of it. It's a very expensive piece of kit. He did both a video review as well as a full written technical breakdown and review over on his website. And was not overly positive on it. I went back and I watched his entire video, as well as I've seen his videos, which we'll get to in a couple of minutes here. He was nothing but praise over the fit and finish and the layout and the menu systems and the connectivity options, configuration settings. He was very, very positive about all of that. What he was negative on were some of the more subjective things, where he pointed out some aspects of the sound quality or subjective aspects of the sound profile out of this DAC that sounded off, that didn't sound correct, that he preferred the audio profile out of other DACs that cost 10% as much. And so his subjective review was technically a good product, and on paper probably fine, but subjectively not the one for me, way too expensive for what I believe you can get better products for. Which is totally what you'd want out of a review. Reviews can take multiple paths. And I typically meet some contention in the tech space from those who do reviews differently than I do. I start my reviews from price point and user experience primarily. And then I explore down from there. My ultimate question that I'm trying to answer is this a good product for the money that you're spending? If I purchase this as a consumer, would I be happy with my purchase? In the surrounding price bracket, is there a better deal or a worse deal, or where does it fit in subjectively? And I'm usually looking pretty narrow focused when it comes to that. If I'm looking at a $400 product, I'll compare it to $300 and $500 products, but I'm not going to compare it to a $100 product unless the $100 product blows it out of the water. And I'm not going to compare it to a $1,000 product because that's out of the price range you're looking at. I try to be very narrow when it comes to that. Versus full-on technical analysis and breakdowns. I don't dive into a lot of the nitty-gritty because I don't think the nitty-gritty tells the full story from a consumer experience standpoint. That's what differentiates a technical benchmark from a subjective review. They are both 100% valid and give 100% or give equally as good but differing information. So that's my opinion on that. In Golden Sound's review, in Cameron's review of the Bartok, he said, it's good, but it's not $15,000 good. And there's some things I really don't like about the sound quality and the sound profile and what I'm getting out of this product. I prefer these other ones more. Wrote it up, hit publish, didn't think about it for 2 years. Now, back in August of 2023, so almost 2 years later, he is on a private WhatsApp group talking about a completely unrelated product. And I don't even remember which product he was talking about, but he made an indirect comparison because of the way that this product processed sound. And he goes, I wonder if this particular amplifier that I'm talking about right now is doing any recompilation or re-encoding of the signal as it passes through.
The Lena, right?
What's that?
The Lena?
Not the Lena. Not the Lena.
Oh, okay.
He was talking about something, a different product entirely. And then he made the comparison to, I wonder if the DCS Lena does that as well. It certainly could. Gotcha. And so he was talking about a completely separate product. And then he makes comparison going, well, the Lena is a very similar product to this. I wonder if they're also doing a recompilation or a re-encoding of the sound. Although I have no hands-on experience with the Lena, nor am I really familiar with it. But it seems like something it could do. But don't take my word for it, and I'd love to look into it more. And so that was his general off-the-cuff remark in a private group chat. Okay? The snippet where he says the Lena does re-encoding. That was snipped out and then shared on Twitter and blasted at DCS. DCS got in touch with Cameron and says, these remarks are wholly inflammatory and you are an absolute tool and you're spreading false information about our products and how dare you? To which Cameron responds, whoa. Here's the full audio clip for you. I didn't say the Lena did that. I said I wonder if the Lena does that. And I don't know if it does that. I thought it was pretty clear. To which DCS comes back and basically piles on, completely ignores the full audio clip and goes, well, I don't know what agenda you have against us, but we also just looked at this other review that you did of the DCS bar talk, and you just crapped all over that. And who the hell do you think you are? And I will not... And the email actually said, I will not sit by and let someone bash and defame a company that I love. You ill-informed little maggot. I'm paraphrasing, but not by that much.
He sounds like a Swiftie almost. He's like, back off of her, man.
Yeah. Leave Brittany alone. So that individual was John at DCS. John is he's the vice president of sales and marketing at DCS. And he sounds just like a oh so pleasant fellow.
By the way, did you see that one of our subs in here tonight is from DCS?
I did not.
Yeah. Bill. He says, what a surprise. I work for DCS doing customer support and have been dealing with the response to this video this week.
Well, hi, Phil. Happy to have you on the show. I hope your week gets better.
Hats off to you, man.
Yeah. So I'm going over the full story as I have it to this point. This is still an evolving story, although, like I said, it is nearing some conclusion. It sounds like both the parties involved, Golden Sound and DCS, are kind of nearing some equal footing. I still have some things to say about both sides of this. We're getting into that now. But know that I am not holding DCS individuals responsible, except for John. He sounds like a butthurt little douche.
Phil does say here, he goes, we did not have an issue with the review being negative. I'm an employee and have been with Cameron this afternoon.
Yeah. Oh, you've been hanging out with Cameron. Nice. Nice. Well, if you see him, tell him I said hi. And tell him I've been thinking about him most of the weekend. So, anyway, catching back up. So there was some back and forth in August over this snippeted out, uncontextualized voice memo set in a WhatsApp group about an unrelated product where he offhandedly mentioned the Lena and said, I wonder if it does this. To which John, their VP of Sales and Marketing, had an absolute freak out and also discovered the existence of the Bartok review, which was very negative. But subjectively, that's what he thought of the product. Objectively, he included everything he needed to. And we'll circle back around to the review. In October, John reached back out. So this is like 2 months later. John reached back out and accused Cameron of presenting inaccurate data in his review of the Bartok and insisting on either a full retraction or heavy modification of that review. Cameron responded and said, if there are any inaccuracies, technically speaking, I apologize. Can you give me a list of anything that I got technically wrong? And I would be happy to print a full retraction of those individual items, but I need to know what is technically inaccurate. I need to know what specifically I got wrong. That went back and forth, with John replying to Cameron saying, I'm not your therapist nor your mommy. Again, sounds like a very pleasant person to deal with who can't even take a question back, let alone provide anything positive to a conversation. And this back and forth went nowhere. Cameron, I believe, asked 2 or 3 times for clarification of what in my review was technically incorrect. And I will post another review. I will post a retraction. I will add footnotes. I will cut segments of the video off YouTube. You let me know what the problem is, because I don't want to be presenting inaccurate data. And I've done this as a reviewer, where if I get something technically wrong, I will amend it. I will cut a section of a video. I will correct it to the best of my ability with the tools that I have at my disposal, or pull the video entirely. So we don't want to be putting bad information out there. Technically bad information. But a subjectively negative review based on objectively accurate data is still a subjective review and is within our bounds as the media to be able to publish. During that back and forth, DCS, I'm going to specify John, never sent over a list of inaccuracies. Cameron even took the video down and made it private for a full 2 weeks and said in a demonstration of good faith, I'm going to remove the video entirely. If you give me a list of inaccuracies, I will make the necessary corrections and changes so then I can repost my video. I don't want to be putting inaccurate information out there. DCS never responded, and so Cameron put the video back up. Cameron didn't hear from them again for another 7 months, and when he heard back from them in May of this year, so by the way, this is 2.5 years post original video process being posted.
God, yeah.
He receives an email from lawyers on behalf of DCS,
Nice.
threatening some pretty heavy consequences. So in May of 2024, Cameron receives a strongly worded letter from a lawyer threatening legal action to take action, quote, to protect its interest, including the recovery of actual and special damages and punitive damages. I don't know if you speak lawyer, but I speak layman. That means we're going to sue your butt into oblivion unless you take the video down. We're going to sue you. We are going to take any legal action required to sue you into oblivion unless our demands are met. That's what that means, with no uncertain terms. Actual, special, and punitive damages. Above and beyond anything that you could possibly comprehend for a $15,000 amplifier in a multi-million-dollar business. Those are pretty strong words. So that's where we were in May, and he was given 10 days to comply. He sat on it for a while. Now, rather than simply complying, he started speaking to Cameron is also a contributor over at headphones.com. He's a writer contributor over there. And started talking to Andrew, the CEO of headphones.com. And Andrew says, you just need to stop talking to him, and we'll see if we can get to the bottom of this. A couple of emails back and forth since then, and DCS has not backed down. And so Cameron posted a video, I believe on Friday, stating, I'm being threatened with a lawsuit over a negative review. And it's also been revealed that John, in communications, threatened a 7-figure lawsuit. $1 million+ lawsuit for a subjectively negative review. Since that time, and again, I'm glossing over a lot here. In Cameron's video, where he presents the lawsuit, or potential lawsuit, he goes over, and sorry, let me back up. In the letter from the lawyer from DCS, he finally gets an itemized list of the technical inaccuracies within the original Bartok video, of which I believe they listed 4. Of those 4, Cameron refutes 3 as either difference of opinion but still technically accurate, or flat out wrong from DCS's standpoint. And again, I am not an audiophile. I'm not going to go into the ups and downs, but Cameron also brought in a couple of fellow experts, colleagues at other publications, and said, is my nomenclature that I used in this video and in my write-up accurate? And they said on these 3 points, yes. If DCS has a problem, it's because they're splitting hairs. But your wording of this and your interpretation of their technical data is accurate within your review. The one thing that he got incorrect was the clock that you can use to synchronize your DAC. A lot of DACs will have different clocks that they can utilize to synchronize the signal and help with processing and all that. He claimed in the video that the Bartok could receive a 10 megahertz external clock, when that's not the case. However, that omission has nothing to do with his final subjective review. So he did get one technical detail incorrect. And in fact, if you go back to his Bartok review, it's now notated in there as both the top of the description and as a pinned comment. Note, I was incorrect. It does not take a 10 megahertz clock. It had a selection of other aspects, 44.1, 49, 58, 85, of clocks that it would receive, of word clocks that it received, but not the specific 10 megahertz external clock that he claimed. Incorrect would not have conclusively changed his video, because his video was about the sound profile and the value of this $15,000 amplifier, not whether or not it would take a 10 megahertz clock.
Impressive stuff. Also, like, not bad doing a whole review and getting one technical, like, highly specific technical detail wrong.
Right. If I get 95% of the way there on my videos, I'm pretty darn happy. I've misspoke a couple of times off the cuff. I've said the wrong thing. I've had to annotate videos later. I swore that I said the right words and then gone back and re-listened to them when I'm editing and realized I said the wrong word. That happens all the time. That doesn't mean you're a bad reviewer, and that doesn't mean that changes your opinion. It just means you got something wrong. Anyway, so that was the fiasco as we saw it towards the end of last week, Thursday, Friday. On Monday, David Stephen, the managing director of DCS, issued a statement on the situation and tries to claim DCS never threatened litigation. Not once in any of our back and forth emails or the email from the lawyer did we say litigation. Well, no, but you did use some pretty direct and very meaningful language in recovery of actual and special and punitive damages, which implies, I don't know if you're a lawyer or not, but litigation. Also, we'll get back to John's email about 7-figure lawsuits preparing here momentarily. David insists that the letters sent from DCS lawyers were sent to correct any false statements in the review. David claims a virtual meeting between DCS, Headphones.com, and Golden Sound took place back in November. Both Andrew, the CEO of Headphones.com, and Cameron refute this claim, saying no meeting ever took place. In fact, the last correspondence was on October 25th from John. There had been no correspondence in the month of November. Let alone was there never any virtual or in-person meetings ever. David says multiple attempts had been made to discuss inaccuracies in the Bartok review. Cameron states they never responded with specific inaccuracies, only accusations of libel and slander. David claims he supplied a list of timestamps in May of 2024, although that list of timestamps was likely the lawyer's letter to Cameron, not just a, hey, here's the timestamps of your video, in which the lawyers threatened litigation. So I will remember to, there we go. One of these days I'll remember to fix my windows before we start the show. So this is on Golden Sound. This is Cameron's video over on headphones.com. He also has a video on Golden Sound, which is more of a just brief overview. But DCS did respond. So if we go ahead and click on that link, here's the original claim that DCS is responding to, and this was posted on Monday. And this one, he refutes basically everything and says DCS had no choice but to, send a lawyer and get these things corrected. I have a feeling that John may have been lying to David this whole time.
No.
Which sounds like a butthurt douche thing to do.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, so a lot of inaccuracies in David's statement on Monday. Late night on Monday, Andrew, again, the CEO of Headphones.com, for which Cameron is a contributor, responded to the statement from DCS and said some things are patently not true in that statement. David's statement from DCS said there was no threat of litigation in the letter sent Monday, May of 2024 from our legal representative to Golden Sound. This is not true. The letter from John specifically states that failure to comply with DCS demands will be forced to exercise its remedies to protect its interests, including recovery of actual, special, and punitive damages. Additionally, this email from John, specifically to Andrew, so this is Mr. Butthurt, sending an email to Andrew, because Andrew, part of headphones.com, CEO, they do a lot of business with DCS, selling DCS amplifiers on their website. They recommend DCS amplifiers. John thought it prudent to say to Andrew, our attorneys are in the process of preparing a 7-figure lawsuit against Cameron. I'm informing you because I value our business relationship and do not want you to be impacted. Please note that the information I'm providing in this email is protected and copyrighted as per the information in my signature. As such, we do not share it with Cameron or anyone else. Dated October 25th, 2023. So 7 months prior to the letter from the lawyer being sent to Cameron. But no, DCS never threatened litigation, right? DCS has never tried to restrain accurate and factual reviews of DCS products, and we believe that all reviewers are free to express their opinions. To which Andrew says, we feel the behavior of DCS in this situation and the demands made clearly show otherwise. They're trying to suppress a negative review. I say DCS as a whole here because John, as the Vice President of Sales and Marketing, that's a pretty high title. You specifically are trying to suppress a negative review. You are representing DCS at this point in time. As a fairly prominent figure. Golden Sound replied to DCS and provided a written breakdown of some of the specific inaccuracies. No, not until the lawyer's letter in May did they provide specific details, and 3 of those 4 are very highly refuted as technical inaccuracies. And then there's a whole other list of things. After that response, and this is the one I think we need to focus on now. So DCS issued a response on Monday. Headphones.com issued a response to the statement Monday night. And then yesterday afternoon, David Steven, again, managing director of DCS, issued a follow-up statement. After reading Headphone.com official response to the statement, speaking directly with Andrew, CEO of Headphones, and carrying out an internal investigation, I have since discovered that parts of this statement were inaccurate. I'm deeply sorry to learn this. My statement was issued in good faith and based on the information I believed to be accurate. I have since discovered that certain information regarding this matter, provided to me by an individual at DCS, wonder who that could have been, was not correct. This individual no longer works at DCS.
There we go.
Good move, David. I wonder who that was who lost their job after sicking a legal team after a negative reviewer based on refuted evidence and lying to both sides and not reaching out in good faith, but reaching out with literally a strong arm. I'm making light of how strong-armed John, in representation of DCS, was being towards Cameron as an independent reviewer. I was furious. I was sickened. As an independent reviewer myself, we do rely on good relationships with the companies that we partner with. Those relationships are not necessarily monetary, almost ever. Most of the products that I show on this channel are relationships that I've established where I'm a trusted figure in the review space. The company provides me with a review sample. I review that to the best of my ability to present it to an audience who will be receptive to those reviews. I do that as a service both to my audience, as a buyer's guide, as a review, as a state of the industry, as a here's something cool that you should be interested in, or as warnings of, I don't think this product is ready, I don't like this software, here's my subjective opinions on it, whatever it be. That's the service that I provide to my audience. The service that I provide to the companies is giving that same feedback and informing them of how they can improve their product. Oftentimes, if I have a negative review on this channel, I will suggest ways that the manufacturer could improve that product. Things that steps the manufacturer could take to up the quality of their product. That's the service that I give back to the companies, and that's why I get review samples, is sometimes for being a little bit harsh. I cannot do my job if a company will not allow me independent reviews, will not allow me to state opinions. I try to my utmost ability to provide accurate technical information. But again, the way I approach my reviews on my channel is often subjectively from an experience standpoint. From a consumer who were to buy this product, would I be satisfied with this product? Are there comparables to look at? Are there pros and cons within this market segment that I'm looking at? It's not just a benchmark. And if a company were to come after me because I gave their product a negative review, I can no longer provide my services either to my viewers or to the company. No money ever changes hands in those circumstances. But that's why that back and forth happens. I posted a video very recently on the 1X Player X1 Mini. That was very, very negative. Had it been a technical benchmark of the 8840U and a 1600p IPS display, I'm sure it performs fine. I'm sure it's good. The hardware's fantastic inside of it. Never made any qualms about that. Subjectively, that was just a bad product. I will not reach out to a company before publishing a review if my conclusion is simply a not recommended. I will reach out if there needs to be some major revisions to a product, and if I'm going to bash a product. And in this case, I reached out to 1X Player, and I stated this in that video, and then I stated this also a couple weeks ago on Talking Heads, that 1X Player has been exemplary to work with in this regard. They took every bit of criticism that I had in stride. From the why are you launching on Kickstarter, to the quality of their controllers, to their overall pricing scheme, to the things that they're focused on, to the things that they have full control over, and why isn't it better? Not only did they own that criticism, they didn't threaten to stop working with me. They didn't demand I take the video down. They said, we understand your standpoint of the service that you're trying to provide your viewers. We understand that moving forward, we're not that you will not accept pre-production units for review samples anymore. You want a finished product, and we completely respect that. We're going to send you a finished product so you can give us a full, unbiased review on it. And that was it. We're still working together. We still have a fantastic relationship, even though I was very, very harsh in that video. And that's the relationship you have to have. Yeah, and as Phil says, we/DCS don't have an issue with negative reviews. They do happen. Not every product is going to fit every consumer's and every reviewer's specific needs, inherent biases, and every reviewer is inherently biased in one direction or another. Whether or not you admit that, whatever. But I have certain biases. I have certain price points that I want things to hit. I have certain things I want to see out of a company, out of a finished product. I have certain expectations for everything. And those biases affect the way I review things, and affect the way I see the world, and affect my opinions on a product. Which is why we always recommend go watch multiple reviews. Don't take my word that the X1 Mini had crappy controls on it. Maybe you really like the clicky D-pad. Maybe you like the feel of those buttons. Subjectively, I hated them. That doesn't mean I'm wrong, and that doesn't mean you're wrong. But I gave you a starting point on where to start making a purchase decision.
Yeah. You know, you can get that good balanced take by watching Jeff and then go and watch, you know, Hardware Unboxed and see how that. No, I'm kidding. Uh, but another thing too is like you can see the real subjectivity of reviews with a big sample size when you look at just like Amazon product reviews, right? It's like
Yeah.
look at any Amazon product that you want to buy. You know, it's Prime Day today. Go give Jeff's affiliate link some love, right? But um I've been looking at a lot of products and yeah, they're really highly rated, but like more often than not, I get turned, and this is the same with like even Steam games. I get turned off from that one negative review that's like, you know, up at the top where it's like, yeah, I wanted to buy this, but it didn't work out of the box. It's obviously garbage. And I'm like, oh no, what if I get one of those, you know? But uh yeah, I was just thinking about this with Steam decks and stuff like, or Steam Deck docks,
Mhm.
you know, and we were talking about this in the Discord earlier, just about how, oh, well, you know, yeah, there were some issues like this, some issues like this. But when you really take into an account and you look at all the reviews, it's like, okay, this is a safe way to spend some of my money. The
Yeah.
reviews are there. It's balanced, you know, one person's subjective opinion isn't throwing, don't let yourself throw the baby out with the bathwater. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I hope uh, internally this has been a learning experience for DCS. Um, Very much a Streisand effect,
Yeah.
caused by one guy within the company who didn't like the fact that someone didn't like his product. Um, and all of a sudden, I'm talking about it. I think it was on a Tech Quickie today. I think it was on over on LTT's one of LTT's second channels. I know Linus himself commented on one of the original videos announcing the DCS is trying to sue me. I guarantee you're going to hear about this on WAN show. Um,
I mean, the part that's most ridiculous about it is how it all kind of came from a private conversation or what was assumed to be more private conversation. That all blew out of proportion because of a WhatsApp, you know, voice memo or whatever it was
yeah,
that apparently left out the sort of disclaimer that it's like, well, yeah, I want, you know, I don't know for sure, but I wonder if this is what's happening. I don't know,
yeah,
man. Some people get put on the warpath and you can't do anything and now you got a freaking international story on your hands. They've really turned off a lot of people to their product. I mean, look at, you know, everybody's being really polite in the chat, but the amount of people that are saying, I see this behavior from a company and I'm not buying their products. Well, easy for me. I
yeah,
don't have $15,000 to spend on one of these products,
right,
you know, you got to be careful where you're putting your money, I guess. It's
yeah,
who's in charge of these things and where's the line? I mean, I guess it's different because Cameron did have a video up on YouTube, but like, you know, I don't know. Where's that line? Can you get busted for what you wrote on your public facing like Twitter page in a single tweet? You're like, ugh, you know,
hmm
Facebook post, an Instagram photo gets enough traction. Is it a review? I don't know.
yeah.
It's obviously an extreme example, but
Yeah. This has certainly been an interesting story to follow from afar. I have not reached out to either company for comment, to Golden Sound, Cameron. I have not reached out to DCS. I have not reached out because I typically don't cover audiophile stuff. Again, I am no audiophile expert. I am taking Cameron with some additional evidence from other prominent industry people as just their word for the technical uh, uh, back and forth that happened between DCS and Golden Sound. But I do work in a review industry, in a consumer focused review industry where I rely on partnerships with brands to be able to review products. And part of that relationship is I have to be able to speak negatively about a product free of repercussions. And sometimes the company's not going to like what I have to say. Sometimes they are. And I want to come back to the very beginning of this. Because sometimes as a reviewer, if you are working with a company, the company obviously has certain objectives and certain things that they want you as a reviewer to take a look at. Hey, we added this new feature. Can you make sure to show this off? I won't necessarily show off that feature, but I will include it in my review, and I will give my subjective opinion on this feature or this benchmark or this setting or whatever it is. You know, you get a new graphics card and they go, hey, DLSS just came out. Can you make sure to include DLSS? Yeah, I'll take a look at DLSS. That's a feature that probably needs to be looked at. I'm not going to do nothing but praise DLSS. I'm going to review it objectively as a feature. And that's a totally honest back and forth communication between a company and a reviewer. That's an interaction you have when you are working with a company. Going back to the original Bartok review, DCS did not provide this hardware to Cameron for review. He sourced it third party. He sourced it from a colleague of his, where he wanted to take a look at the Bartok and simply posted a review of it. Now, part of DCS's rebuttal of that review was typically for our devices, we'll send an engineer out or we'll do a Zoom chat or something. So we make sure that it's set up properly and the correct settings are applied to really maximize the performance and the experience of the device. And while that's, yes, partially true, your documentation on the product should stand for itself. Because a consumer is not going to have someone Zoom chat them to make sure it's set up properly. They're going to open the box and plug it in and start using it. So I do want to push back a little bit on that. That sometimes as reviewers, we are afforded one-on-one time with engineers or representatives to make sure we're getting things correct and making sure we're showing things in the best light. And I take advantage of some of those, and other things I don't. I've been suggested to benchmark things one way. And if it's a valid benchmark, absolutely I'll use that. If it's not a valid benchmark, or all it does is show this company in a positive light because it's this one specific scenario, and that scenario doesn't overall factor into my review or my opinion, I won't include it. And those are choices and those are biases that I have. Don't let any reviewer tell you they are 100% objective. Every reviewer has biases. Every reviewer has use cases in mind. Every reviewer has something that they want to see out of a device. And whether or not it meets those expectations, we get into subjectivity. Every review is subjective, which is the way it should be. You're asking for my opinion on something. Even if I do 100% objective benchmarks, I have to summarize them at the end and give you an opinion. And that opinion is going to be subjective. So don't let anyone tell you that their review is 100% objective and we just let the numbers speak for us. No, you don't. If you ever voice an opinion, no, you don't. Michael sends over 10 Aussie bucks. Thank you very much, Michael. Sitting here, not even able to listen to this week's madness because I am in a public place dealing with bloody photocopier issues, I'm assuming. Enjoy and can't wait for the Axe update. Yes. I forget how many you ordered, but they're right here, Mike. So. I have, sitting right behind me, 300 of them flashed, tested, and ready to go. I was waiting on one more bit of packing material, which actually I got notification that it was delivered today. So shipping starts tomorrow. Zach says all my reviews are relative to the A5000. Yeah, they would be, wouldn't they? Yakto wants to know when he's picking up his with an order of fish and chips. Whenever you want. I've got him here ready to go now. So I'm assuming sometime after you get some of those decoms that we talked about, maybe we'll do an exchange. Sugar Rewind wants to know, do these run with the updated firmware with the second thing enabled? Yes, they do. That second thing being the humidity sensor is now active and ready to roll. So we have both temperature and humidity enabled on the beta unit. It's been tested and it's ready to rock. So fun times. Yeah.
Go Create Tech recommends the name Zephyr MS for Axe Effect.
Zephyr MS. Why Zephyr?
It has to do with the wind. It's like the name of the east wind in Greek or something like that.
Okay.
Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's one of the winds. Otherwise, I don't know.
Yep. Anyway, Cameron, Golden Sound. I hope this is all at this point resolved. I hope that the situation is now behind you. You can get rid of some of that anxiety, rest a little easier. John, man, lighten up. Go take up fishing or something. You need to get out of the office and get your head out of your ass. David, thank you so much for doing a little bit more investigation and not just sticking by the company line, which was kind of your first response on Monday. Thank you for diving a little bit deeper and continuing to follow up on the situation and gaining more information, of which you figured out sounds like John was lying a little bit, and sounds like maybe that was the problem. So to everyone over at DCS, yeah, this last week probably sucked. The last 4 or 5 days probably sucked. I hope, and from what it sounds like, at least David has a good head on his shoulders. And Phil alluded to as much earlier in the chat here. And I hope everyone understands that the importance of that relationship between reviewer and company. And even when I give negative reviews, I typically give a path to correction for a company to follow. And again, those are based on my subjective opinions, and the company is more than welcome to follow those or not, because I'm approaching a review with my own inherent biases and expectations for a product. But mine are no less valid than anyone else's. And there's a reason you're sending me the product to review, is you respect my opinions, whether they be negative or positive. So, everyone at DCS, I hope you have a fantastic week. Cameron, I hope you sleep well tonight. And hopefully a lot of other people learn from the situation too, because this one got ugly really quick.
Well done. It's the longest story we've covered in a while.
Yeah, that was 45 minutes.
Phil, I'll go ahead and take a Bartok unit. I appreciate it. Just go ahead and send it to Craft Computing's mailbox, and I'll pick it up. There won't be any reviews, but that's all.
How would the Bartok sound out of my my ATH50s from Audio Technica? Like, I know those are fantastic $100 headphones, but I'm kind of wondering, would I get the true Audio Technica experience?
That's right. Everybody needs to have a $15,000 DAC and run the sound through a pair of $100 headphones. I love good sound, but my hearing has gone to the point where, like, what's the point? You know,
Yeah.
Maybe I'm alone in that sentiment, but you know.
No, you and I both spent a fairly significant portion of our lives doing live performance. Um, in the trenches, in pits. I did I did marching band, I did orchestral work, I did drum and bugle corps, I did stage shows, I did a whole bunch of other things. Um, you did a lot of orchestral, you did a lot of plays, you did a lot of stage shows. You're in a band. Heck, I was the first comment on your most recent video.
I
You
know.
see
I saw that. Yeah. The shoe is on the other foot.
Ah, what now?
Yeah, it was funny. I was like, dang, how did he see this? And I forgot that like one of my first days in Craft Studio, I followed myself from Craft Computing's YouTube channel.
It showed up on my front page. I wasn't even looking for it. It's just like, Rett is awesome posted a video? What? 7 views?
Yeah. Actually,
Make it 8.
It was kind of a fun little video taken from people who sent in their cell phone footage of the thing. And I just spliced it together. And like the audio was my own cell phone audio. Like it's not bad, you know?
Yeah.
It was kind of fun. Anyway.
Jeff did drum corps. What corps? Wasn't part of an official corps. I did high school marching band. I had a one of our drummers out of our band did end up making the drum and bugle corps. I did not. But was also part of drumline. We did marching floor shows. We did halftime shows, basketballs. We did a whole bunch of other things. I was part of a jazz combo ensemble for a little while. We were the alternate band to the Oregon Ducks Green Garter Band, which played a lot of the basketball games at MacArthur Court before it was Matthew Knight Arena. So I got to see a number of basketball games, from courtside for free, and all I had to do was play saxophone every once in a while. So that was awesome.
Woohoo!
I would have loved to actually get into drum and bugle corps. I think that would have been a heck of a lot of fun. Jeff, have you met Nick Cannon? Drumline is such a great movie.
I do love that movie.
It's so good.
It's ridiculous how fun that movie is for like what it is, you know?
Yeah.
Like they just don't make movies like that anymore, you know? I guess in a way you do get like kind of a similar experience with like the movie Whiplash, you know, except for it's like jazz drums instead of drum lines. I do think that drumline is more accurate than Whiplash though. Like Whiplash, I think captured a feeling pretty good, but it wasn't very accurate to like the jazz band experience. But then again, I didn't go to college, so
I don't think it's that far off.
Like I think that like the ego trip of like the conductor and things like I said, I'm not saying like I think that there's a lot of it that is accurate, but I think as far as like like there's a scene where for whatever reason like Miles Teller is like just playing as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And like everybody
my
does
tempo,
that
come on. Yeah, that scene.
And that's whereas like in drumline you get a lot more just like I don't know. It's more about the hard work than it is about like
drumline was more the journey of a team through the eyes of an individual, whereas Whiplash is the eyes of an individual trying to join a team. It was just the
yeah. I mean, both are great. Like I love the movie Whiplash.
Yeah.
It's a great movie, but
yes, anything with J.K. Simmons is an amazing movie.
Oh yeah, man.
I bet Spider-Man could play this tempo.
Were you rushing or were you dragging?
Everyone go get a drink. This is going to take a while.
Such a great movie.
Someone who majored in music at two different colleges, the experience can be drastically different from one school to another. Yeah. I started my college career as a music education major. I wanted to be an instructor or a band teacher, band director, something like that, or a performer, like wherever it led. And I've talked about this a couple times where I started looking around at the job market as it existed in the early 2000s and didn't want that. And so switched my major over to IT. So, yeah.
And now look at you, Jeff.
Now look at me.
You could have been shaping the lives of young, impressionable people. And now you get drunk on Wednesday nights. No. Just teasing.
Jazz hands, Jeff. What do you want? Jazz hands? Do you want chronology? Do you want like which meme do you want? Then Axe Effect wouldn't exist. Exactly. I've created an entire industry.
Ooh. Dang. True.
Right? All right. How's your beverage treating you, by the way?
Good. You know, it's nothing special, but it's serviceable. It's good. It's a nice, crisp. I don't even know if I would say fruity. It's not very fruity at all. It's just very, very crisp, hoppy IPA. Not overly hoppy. Not overly fancy. Serviceable. That's all I can say about the 541 IPA.
Yeah.
But it's almost gone, and I do have another beer lined up in a moment, so.
Yeah. The Bluesky Hop Finder. Got a little Martian. It's like an android in a spacesuit. It's literally what it looks like. I know it's kind of hard to see on there. But discovering like this hop as like this lost egg. Yeah, it's in this pool inside of a dead forest. It's a really cool.
I dig that
bit of can art. Definitely a New England style IPA. Definitely East Coast style IPA. A little bit hazy, very citrusy, very dry.
What do you think the difference is between? Can you articulate what's the difference between an East Coast IPA or a New England IPA and a West Coast IPA, or even like a New England versus a Northwest?
The East Coast accentuates the fruit notes of hops a lot more. They tend to be more of the citrusy, the juicy, the hazy, acidic based IPAs. You get up front, you'll get the guava, the orange, the pineapple, the blood orange, the grapefruit, those types of, tropical inspired notes, which, to be clear, are not fruit infused. That's just one profile of hops. That's one flavor profile that you can get off hops, is kind of a citrusy fruit based profile. They tend to be a little bit drier. They try to be, a little bit more brute than West Coast IPAs. West Coast IPAs tend to be a little bit earthier, whether that's vegetal or literal earthy. West Coast IPAs can also go a little bit more dank. They can be a little bit weedy, a little flowery. Whereas East Coast IPAs, again, brute champagne style, very dry. West Coast IPAs tend to be really big and thick in their body profiles, and very wet in the taste.
John J asks, didn't you watch his latest video where he cried drinking an East Coast beer? And I did not see that. Novella says, I think Jeff was kissing the glass.
Might have been. Oh, that was the Treehouse. Yes. Treehouse went as far as to call one of their latest IPAs, I'm forgetting which one, but it was literally dank cannabis was a descriptor on the back of the can. And I went, you got balls, Treehouse. Because the cannabis industry and the beer industry don't get along, even though they're siblings of the same plant. Like, it's the same flowering body. It's just one of them is thought as like hardcore drugs, and the other is, oh, it's classy and shit because it's alcohol, right? Alcohol's socially acceptable. And so seeing cannabis printed on the back of the can, it's something you don't see, even though we have descriptors like weedy or dank or flowery or whatnot that perfectly describe that flavor profile.
Yeah.
I actually cut out a segment of that video review.
Oh, really?
Where I popped open a bag because I went, they say it smells like cannabis. So I went, they're not wrong.
That's funny.
And Go Createch says cannabis is not hardcore. I understand cannabis isn't hardcore. Cannabis shouldn't be scheduled the way it is by the FDA, but it is. And there's a huge swath of the population still, whether facetiously or not, believes cannabis is hardcore drugs. And
I mean, it was only legalized in Oregon like 8 years ago.
Not even.
And
2019, like
no,
ago.
it was like 2015 or 16. Yeah,
that was Colorado.
Yeah. No, Oregon. Yeah, I think it was. I think it's a little bit earlier than 2019. Like definitely before the president, before our current president. But point being was not to where was I going with
2014. Okay, I stand.
Oh, 2014.
10
so yeah,
years
2000.
Now.
Oh my God! So 2014 was when it was legal. You could it was
2014.
Decriminalized. You could possess
it was voted in by.
You could grow it.
2014. It was voted in by a 56% vote, legalizing non-medical cultivation and uses of marijuana, and it was signed into law October 1st, 2015.
And remember the mentality, the perception of it, like even in 2012 versus then it got legalized and things like really softened. So imagine the places where it wasn't legal, you know?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of places like that in the world where, yeah, it's like you understand that maybe it's not this incredibly harmful thing, but the perception of it is pretty heavy-handed.
Yeah.
So putting it on, and especially in a country where it's not legal everywhere,
right,
and it's not legal to take it across state lines,
right. Like I said, putting it on the back of a beer can is a ballsy move.
Yeah, that's what I was coming back around to.
Yeah.
Good for them though.
Mm-hmm.
I like Treehouse.
Yeah.
Y'all could guess what my second beer is.
Is it Treehouse?
That would have been smart, but no. It's got a big red R on it though, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna get that was guess number 2.
You gave me the benefit of the doubt.
I did. I thought you were gonna be classy tonight, Rhett.
Nah. I got a couple
Michael had it right.
Oh yeah, Michael knows me.
Michael in the chat just says capital R. People in Kansas smoke grapevine to get high. We are not the same. What a perfect use of that meme. Anyway, we do have a couple other stories I want to get to. So starting with the Rabbit R1. Our little tiny device that just cannot get out of the news, because holy crap, every time we think we've gotten to the bottom and the worst of this maligned demon spawn, the all-encompassing AI is meaningless in modern society device.
Did it turn out that the rabbit was logging in to World of Warcraft to order the pizzas?
Just using WoW's API.
They're like, well, the technology's already here. And we can farm our characters. We could sell these characters when we're all done.
Yeah.
Their whole business model is on just like farming WoW characters and accounts so they can just make a profit on that. They're hemorrhaging money everywhere else, but
Yeah.
not on World of Warcraft.
Yeah. So no, as it turns out, it's more terrible software, and more backdoors, and more nefarious usage of user data. The R1's AI assistant may have been secretly not only storing your queries, but
Oh,
user
go
to
figure.
user chat and using it as
Go
AI
figure.
training fodder. That also cannot be deleted.
Nice. Nicely done, Rabbit. That's
Right?
pretty incredible. They've managed to do all the things that we know AI companies will do in one fell swoop.
Yeah. Yeah. First it
For one,
first
ahead.
it was a terrible device, and then it's basically nothing more than an Android app, which we all kind of figured. We knew it was probably Android underpinnings, but people ported the app off and just started using it. To then it was, I don't even remember the next two stories, but and now it's, yeah, anything that you chatted with other R1 users. Apparently that's public data that is subject to farming and training sets. Oh, and all of this can be called up using the AI, saying, "Hey, is there a user called this? What did they say? Did they send any pictures?" And it will show you their logs.
This is almost like I feel bad, but this is almost like looking at pictures of people sharing their wrecked Cybertrucks on Twitter. It's like, yeah, you have a hard time thinking that they don't deserve it. Of course, that's just mean spirited, but anyway, the Rabbit is one of those products. Like when I first heard about it from CES of this year, like I thought for sure that would be the last time I ever heard about it. It sounded so ridiculous and so dumb, and all of the questions that were targeted at the CEO about how it was going to be utilized and how it was going to be leveraged and how like all of the features and user experiences that it was going to offer. And it didn't sound useful. If you have ears, this is the thing with any of these types of tech grifts that have come out. You guys can go back to the beginning of Talking Heads and you can listen to me stand so hard for so many self-appointed sort of tech sages, tech founders and CEOs and things like this. And it's like I used to think that when they were promising things that we were going to see delivery on them, because I grew up in the age where companies actually delivered value to consumers rather than extracting value from consumers. And here we are. Like I heard about the Rabbit. I listened to a bunch of stuff about it in some podcasts, and I thought for sure gone. Then of course CoffeeZilla does a big video on it, and more YouTubers do big videos on it. I think even Linus did a video on Rabbit, or maybe he just did AI. I don't know, but it's like, when is it going to go away? It's clearly a crap product. Are people still buying it? Have they not like scrolled through their news feed, opened a magazine? What, I don't know how people get their news anymore, but regardless, it's embarrassing. And the tech grifts all sound the exact same. They don't say anything. It's like, anyway, the fact that I'm trying so hard not to go into Morrowind, guys. I'm trying, but the chat is not helping. Just kidding. But yeah, and Go Create Tech says it right, and I've hit on this the last few times I've been on the show and AI have come up. He says everyone doing Steve Jobs style showcases, and that's because all of these people want to be Steve Jobs for some reason. Like one of the dumbest founders out there. I mean, he struck gold like one time, or maybe twice, I guess. And everybody wants to deliver products and things like he did, but it's like when your product can't even survive based on the things that you're saying it's doing, does it deserve to? No, you got to pivot. You got to extract people's data, like I said, extract the value from your user.
You're
Like,
assuming that they had a business plan that wasn't just harvest user data.
yeah. Well, it's just the collapse of like the tech industry before our eyes, And one of the
Yeah.
things I said before is like it's hardest for me, like, and I said you could go back and you could listen to me at the beginning of Talking Heads in 2017 when I would stand so hard for like certain tech sages and tech founders and like the things that they were saying and promising. It's like I bought into them because I came up in the age where companies were delivering value and valuable products to their consumers. And there was
Yeah.
products that revolutionized our lives and changed our lives. And now it's the other way around. They aren't delivering value, they're extracting it from you. You are the product, and they are just putting the means of extraction in your hands and in your eyes. And if you aren't working, producing, and adding to the GDP of your local economy, then you're consuming these ads and you're being milked for every penny. Your attention is being harvested in order to make these people money. And they're like, here's a new toy. By the way, all it does is ruin your life. It's called the Rabbit R1. Can you order a pizza with it? Yeah, but it's dumb.
Yep.
Morrowind never did that. Morrowind didn't give us horse armor. The beginning of the end was horse armor. That's all I'm saying.
It really was. It really was. No, back when $10 got you Tribunal.
Yeah, man. Back when you bought an expansion pack, dude.
Yeah.
When was the last game you bought that had an expansion pack? And by the way, the Tribunal was huge.
Yeah.
It had so much content.
20 hours of content.
And like I think Blood Moon was less, but even the content that Blood Moon added was epic, man. Worth the money. Zach says, I bet I can order a pizza with a $50 super chat and you'd win. You'd win that one. I'd type whatever you want into the pizza delivery app for $50.
Yeah, back when you could buy software rather than rent it under restrictions.
I mean, yeah, man, that's the crazy. Like we've really come full circle to the beginning of the days of the internet where people would say, number one, be careful what you put on the internet. It can never go away, which we're watching unfold before our very eyes in terms of like just entire swaths of content being removed from the internet, entire media conglomerates just erasing 20 years worth of their YouTube back catalog or erasing 20 years of their blogs. But then the other side of that
look
is
at what Discovery just did. Discovery just pulled Daily Show, John Oliver.
That's exactly what I was
Comedy
thinking
Central, all the South Park clips, all of the just erase 25 years of internet history to push their subscription service now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I was thinking of. And then on the flip side of that is the whole be careful what you read on the internet type thing. And it's like, here it is, man. Like you don't even know what's real or true or not. Like I made the mistake of scrolling through Facebook just the other day. Just for a moment, because I'm stuck having the Messenger app for things. I'm stuck having Facebook for work. And like I swear I saw at least a dozen AI generated images that people were like peddling off as like legit.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's just that like these people aren't looking very closely or if they just don't know what to look for, but it's like, once you start seeing them, you can't unsee them, you know? Like, yeah, it's
Yep.
yeah,
I'm sure that
anyway,
Discover
sorry, just
content
reading
moving to
chat.
a paid platform has nothing to do with the sudden availability of all those things on the pirate sites. I hadn't noticed.
Dude, I bought my first 4K DVD today because I'm just like I'm going back to the day like I want to control my own media.
Yeah.
I've stopped streaming music as much as possible at the moment. I buy all my music.
Yep.
You know, I buy it on Bandcamp and I download it in lossless format immediately. Um and I'm doing the same thing with my movies and stuff. It's like I could spend an hour every night scrolling mindlessly through Netflix and Hulu and what have you, trying to find whatever I happen to be in the mood to watch. I have these massive subscriptions just to watch The Office and Parks and Rec over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could just get rid of them and I could just have things that I want to watch on hand.
Yep.
Like, and I think that's the way I'm gonna start heading. So I bought the Northman today. Northman, the Northman. You guys know the one. On 4K Blu-ray today, and because Amazon Prime Day, so it was cheap. But the thing that these things have that I forgot how much I like, commentary tracks. My God, I love commentary tracks. The reason I'm here doing Talking Heads is probably because of commentary tracks. Um, but yeah, man, it's too much out there. Go Create Tech is ending his Prime membership before the renewal. And that's a great idea. I should do the same thing. I might keep that though. It's 2 day shipping. It's almost necessary. Or
Yeah.
is it? Oh, listen to me talk. I'm the worst.
I will say, I rely on it simply for the business stake of it, for getting parts here in a timely manner, for doing projects, videos, etc. So,
Yeah, I don't blame you.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's time for me to get back to controlling my own media again. I mean, it's kind of a weird way to be and a weird thing to go back to because we literally like watched like the near extinction of piracy in some level just because of the
Because of
ease of
Netflix.
use. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's crazy to think about like yeah, just the sheer ease of use of these platforms. And then you have somebody who's got, I guess I don't know how much money like Amazon Prime Video or whatever is like losing on their video streaming service, but like the fact that they now inject ads and I'm just like it's the way it always goes, isn't it? Like cable started as like an alternative service where you could like pay a premium fee and you could like not have ads. And then it had ads. And every time you turn on cable now, you get to watch freaking you know, pharmaceutical ads and reverse mortgage ads and it's painful.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, so all that to say that the rabbit sucks.
And I wish it would go away.
I do. Yeah.
Stop being relevant in the news for things you suck for.
Yeah. Yeah. When is it going to go away?
I don't think they sold that many, but the news just keeps coming, and I don't understand why.
Is it because like a dog pile is like really popular? Is this like the woman on Twitter who drank coffee in her garden with her husband in the morning and just like everybody hated her because of it?
I don't know.
You remember that one?
I don't. I don't remember that one. I'm not even sure
had
where
to
you're at right now.
had to have been like one of the last things I saw on Twitter before I got off was this woman who was just like, starting my morning right. I'm drinking coffee in the garden with my husband.
Uh huh.
And people ripped her apart. How dare she have a garden? How dare she have a
A
husband?
garden
How
in this economy?
exactly, dude. But it was just like whatever people's problems were in their life, they just projected it on her as like lording it over
Jeez.
them. So she had like 10,000 comments of people just ripping her apart, man. And all for a tweet that was literally just like, starting the morning right,
What a
drinking
good
coffee
day.
in the garden with my husband. Yeah. And anyway, that's what it makes is like the rabbit R1, the drinking coffee in the garden with my husband, and we're all just like dogpiling it.
One
Like
of the
we
last
see one
great
person doing it.
moments, one of the last great moments that I remember on Twitter, before I stopped using it, was InfoSec Twitter. So those in the InfoSec sphere. I forget who it was even. But one of them posted a picture of themselves in a bikini at a hotel because they were at a conference and had an hour, figured I'd head down to the pool. And look, tech in general is typically a male dominated space. It shouldn't be. Everyone should be welcome. But the old boys club got together and said, we don't need you lording over us with these thought photos in our InfoSec Twitter. Who do you think you are? And the other side of InfoSec Twitter that is ran by women and marginalized communities and everyone else got together and said, screw that. I'm going to take a picture in a bikini and post it.
Yeah.
And so you had women and trans people of every gender, and you had men, and you
There
had
was a lot of
furries,
men.
and you had everyone posting pictures in a bikini in solidarity because one person got lambasted on it, and it was one of the greatest things I've ever witnessed.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had every flavor of sexual identity posting pictures in bikinis, and it was glorious.
I just love the idea too that it's like it's this male dominated thing. And they're like, no, we cannot look in this at this picture quietly. We must say something. And because I'd be embarrassed if I said anything positive. It has to be negative.
Guys, is it gay to look at women in bikinis? It was such an alpha male
Yeah.
self-own, they didn't even realize it.
Yeah, for sure, dude. That's up there with like Ben Shapiro being like, my wife, who's a doctor, says that if in response to the Cardi B song.
No women I've been with have ever orgasmed. It's false. They can't do it.
He said, my wife, who's a doctor, says that if you're getting that wet, you have a medical problem. Oh my God. Guy's a huge doof.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the last like big things that I remember being part of on Twitter, and actually being really proud of the community for standing up and going, no, screw you. Let this person enjoy their 20 minutes by the pool.
But
like,
where was
holy
your
crap.
bikini picture, Jeff?
I didn't post one. I don't have a bikini. I was not able to post one.
Wow.
So
what's the point of all this 2-day shipping if you're not even going to get yourself a bikini?
if I'm not just going to order a bikini.
Come on, guys. Let those super chats go. Let's see Jeff in a bikini. Let's see how deep his solidarity rises. Jeff, are you truly an ally or are you just a poser?
I respect your right to be who you are and post whatever you want, and I will support that till the day I die. There are certain things I don't want to inflict my audience with. And you need to respect my right to privacy and
Oh, don't turn this around on me, Jeff.
yeah. Who's the bigot now?
How dare you snipe
You're not
the moral high
entitled
ground?
to my bikini pictures, Rhett. How dare you?
Oh no, am I being canceled? Oh no, it's coming. I just did this to myself. Oh my god. Oh, the man kitty.
Rhett and I always impressed the other person has done with their lives. Because like Rhett's one of the most well-traveled people I've ever met, but he is the most horribly uncomfortable in cities. I've been to more big cities than he has, and he's left the country dozens of more times than me. And so we'll go to like San Francisco, and I'm just like, no, there's no one coming. Come on, cross the street. And Rhett's like, I don't know. The light's red. I feel uncomfortable. And I'm like, would you come on?
There is no light, Jeff. You have to carry me.
Right. So yeah, it's this weird. It's always funny, like what experiences we're okay with and which ones we're totally uncomfortable with. You say, you know, Jeff, where's your bikini picture? I was on a swim team for years. I'm scuba certified. I'm totally comfortable with, you know, like I have done, you know, dives into a pool and nothing but a Speedo. Like that's totally been my life for a certain period of my time on this earth. So
fair enough. Besides, Josh Lloyd for $5 says he didn't come here for Jeff in a bikini. I came for the weird, quote unquote, tech pictures.
All right, you want something stupid sexy? Here you go.
Oh God, look how big that cooler is.
Doesn't that do it for you?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Inches.
So that's why Jeff is sponsored by Manscaped. How about a calendar of Jeff in bikinis and showing off servers? Michael says MBILFs. Motherboards, I'd like to.
Nice. Motherboards I'd like to have fun with. Oh no, I got thermal paste all over me. Help me, stepbrother. This cooler is stuck.
Don't push it. Don't push it. Yeah, the PCIe's, that's Gen 5. There are 7 PCI Express X16s and then just an extra X8 tossed on top. There's 2 M.2s. There are 4 Micos, which are X8.
That's a lot of X.
Yeah. There's a lot of PCI Express on this board.
That's more than 3X, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We've gone way off the rack rails.
Rackham, I barely know him.
Dad, what's a rack? It's a country. I can't remember what movie that was, but that's a Steve Martin line for sure.
Do you remember the Mad TV? It was Key and Peele were on Mad TV, and they did a sketch of ripping off Apple in the early 2000s, introducing our newest product. You know, we gave you the iPod, and now then the iNano and the iScreen, and now introducing the iRack. and they take it off, and it's a sketchy little wire rack, and it's a political piece because the iRack looks unstable. They're taking questions from the audience.
Oh God. That actually sounds hilarious.
It's such a great, yeah. And look, the iRack can hold all of the products. I'm going to put so many things into the iRack. The Iraq looks like it doesn't want those things in there. Nonsense. In fact, I'm going to throw more money at the Iraq.
Why do these characters almost sound like a straight edge Rick and Morty?
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh my God, the Iraq's on fire. Get out. We have to get out. You can't get out. There is no exit strategy.
I'm gonna have to look this up after the show. This sounds hilarious.
It's such a good one.
uh,
The Iraq looks like it doesn't even want those things in there. And that is until we announce our next product, the Iran, and it's a sneaker.
Awful. Awful.
A lot of people backing me up on the Iraq skit. Yes. Well, two more news stories to get to. Number one, dealing with things that were pulled from the internet or from basically using training fodder that should not have been allowed and is expressly against the terms of service of said service. But who cares? It's training data, and now we have it, and we're absolved of all responsibility because we contracted that out. Or so the story goes. Apple, NVIDIA, I believe Microsoft, and dozens of other companies, Anthropic, used thousands of downloaded videos to train AI, specifically the closed captioning services, the caption services for these videos, was downloaded as AI training fodder. And a lot of these were tech videos. And so there's a lot of names you probably recognize. Marquise Brownlee, LTT. There was also John Oliver's on this list. There's a whole bunch of... they also did Late Show, Last Night with John Oliver, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Marquise Brownlee, Mr. Beast, PewDiePie, lots and lots, 177,000 videos. They downloaded the caption data from and uploaded it as AI training fodder. Now, of course, there's plausible deniability because we simply contracted with a third party who we bought training data from, and we were assured that that training data would be from a legally obtained source. We had no way of knowing that we would be downloading the contents of YouTube for training data. We're not going to delete that data because that would just be silly, right? We can't possibly be held accountable to the terms of service of YouTube's download policy, or the policy and privacy protections that are in place for that. We can't. That's the situation. That sums it up. Is these companies illegitimately and against terms of service downloaded the data from all of these videos, use it as training fodder, but because it was done through a third-party service, they went, well, we have it, and it'd be a shame if it just sat there now. So we're going to use it.
Naturally.
I think I was more offended that my videos were not found in this. That I was not part of this breach. I thought I was high enough up in the tech circuit that I would have been scraped. But no. There is a site that you can go to see if your video was part of the training set, and Craft Computing was not found in the training set.
Well, you got the likes of Mr. Beast in there, so I mean he's really skewing the metrics about how big channels are.
Well, but I thought out of 177,000 videos, out of like, something like 40,000 creators, I figured I might have been somewhere up there in the tech space.
I'm sorry, Jeff.
But no. Was your YouTube video used to train AI? No. Craft Computing, no results. I would have been pissed off either way. Just to be clear.
Craft Computing wasn't used, but Craft Extra was.
Right.
They got all the clips of talking heads.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we needed. We've cracked the code now.
This is the thing that puts us over the top. Now we have a consumer use case because of all that, valuable training data that we got from Craft Extra and that wonderful 30-minute Morrowind recap.
We know everything we need to know about Morrowind now. Shut it down. Don't let that boy play that game.
With captions such as IT furry bikini selfies, how could they have passed on you?
Or what was that one? There was one about in our captions one time about the Power Ranger with like a big booty or something like that. You remember that? Somebody was watching the show with captions on it, and something I had said, the captions got confused and thought I said like big booty Power Ranger.
I don't recall that.
Yeah, I think it was Vince was the one who shared the screen captures of it.
Okay. I mean, so I believe it.
Maybe he remembers that.
I've seen how terrible the AI captioning can be. Although now Big Booty Power Ranger is part of the official caption. So
well, yeah, naturally.
Yeah.
I had to ensure it. I had to make it a part of the lore.
Yeah.
You know, it was too skibbity to pass up.
Was that the yellow or the pink one?
Yeah, I can't remember. I definitely mentioned a color in it, but I don't remember what. Yeah, Vince says, I think that was me from last year.
Jeff, beer number 2. I think I'm going to pass for right now. I think this might just be a 1 beer night. So.
Nothing wrong with that. Rainier doesn't count, so I'm having a 1 beer night too.
Right. He had a beer and a water, so. One last story to get to, and this one should really come as no surprise. And it's been something that we've been talking about for quite a while on AI, and something we've explicitly stated a couple of times is there's a whole bunch of promise of what AI is going to bring. It'll enhance your productivity, and it'll bring you all these new features, and imagine just being able to type something in and get 80% of your work done. But where's the practical use case as it exists today? And when it comes to AI, outside of like proofreading, there's not much of one. Outside of like
even then,
rough summarization of abstract concepts, but hopefully there's already been a shortened Wikipedia article written on that abstract concept. Otherwise, it really won't know how to summarize the concept. It can't take single source and create a better source. It's going to take multiple sources and create kind of an amalgam, but then also sometimes it just makes shit up. That's where we exist with AI today, as far as generative text-based AI. So where is the consumer-facing use case? And the overwhelming consensus is we're still working on that. Consumers aren't stupid. Well, I will say a consumer isn't stupid. Consumers are confused, dumb, irrational, emotional animals, to paraphrase Men in Black.
We're used to buying the products that these damn companies make us, man.
In a recent consumer poll, would you pay more for hardware with AI capabilities? And the overwhelming majority said no. Why? Because there's no point.
And also because it doesn't mean anything. What does it mean? What possible piece of computer hardware could I buy that has AI features, and what the actual hell does that mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean shit. It's garbage. It's fluff. It's boardroom stakeholder bullshit.
There are a whole bunch of theoretical use cases for AI. Outside of big data or genome cracking or financial, there's very little practical consumer-facing use today. There's some really cool parlor tricks. I will give you those. There's some really cool parlor tricks. But that's like saying Star Citizen is a finished product.
It's like saying that your freaking horoscope is giving you good advice. It's like, yeah, sometimes it might.
It gets lucky sometimes.
Yeah.
Or it gets so vague that it's like, oh, I can see the correlation there. That guy totally was a Sagittarius. No wonder. But when it comes to the
Sagittarius into this, by the way, but go on.
I said what I said. When it comes to the actual practical applications, when it comes to what will you, as a user of an AI accelerated device, a Copilot Plus enabled device, where is your practical use case? The answer is it doesn't exist yet. The other thing about AI is, well, what hardware do you need to run it? Oh, any GPU, or in some cases, one of the newer, larger NPUs on the latest generation of Lunar Lake or Strix Point processors when it comes to laptops. But really, any GPU will do. So the NPU is additional silicon with no practical use case that I'm paying more money for to do the same work slightly more efficiently than the GPU, but the GPU is still faster. Coolsies. AI is not there. It doesn't have a use case yet. And I think a lot of the markets, consumer facing and even looking like large focused, are starting to kind of realize that. They're just within the last month, I'm seeing a little bit of trepidation. I'm seeing a little bit of correction of, okay, but what's it going to do today? And if the answer isn't, it does X, Y, Z, I'm seeing some hesitation from buyers. I'm seeing less AI buy-in and more use case buy-in.
Yeah.
There are some use cases for AI, or machine learning, as we called it 4 years ago. And those use cases still exist today. Massive compute, big data, and it's coming down further into practical science, practical medical applications. Being able to... One of the things AI does fantastically well, and it's one of the things that makes us think AI is good, is because humans also do this exceedingly well. And that's recognize patterns within data. Suss out patterns within abstract things. Whether that's visually, whether that's analytically, whether that's numbers, whether that's words, whether that's language, is be able to abstract a pattern and interpret it. Now, the problem you get with that with AI is an AI is unable to determine a happenstance pattern from one that actually exists. For example, there's a lot of correlation between data sets. The adoption rate of Internet Explorer versus the murder rate in the US comes to mind.
Yeah.
Hold on. This is a real bar graph. This is a real chart. I want you to see this.
On an XKCD comic.
It's not. It's not even XKCD.
It sounds like it, though.
It really does. Let me pull it up.
I took a shot. I wasn't sure, but...
No, this is a real comic. Or this is a real chart.
Graph.
Internet Explorer use, Internet Explorer market share, versus murder rate in the US.
Are you putting this on the screen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's the same extrapolated data points versus total market share versus number of murders.
Nice.
Those are correlated graphs. The adoption rate of Internet Explorer is not a causality of the murder rate in the US, though. And that's where AI doesn't do so well. That's where AI can't figure out the numbers. It can recognize patterns in speech and language and images, but it can't tell you one thing caused the other. And in fact, AI has a tendency to make things up as it goes. So it might throw random causality at you.
I mean, if you want to see how bad AI is, or whatever, these large language models in particular is, ask it questions about literally anything that you know a lot about.
Yeah.
Don't ask it general shit that you don't know, that you're Googling, because it's going to give you information you're not going to have any idea. But if there's something that you're an expert in or something that you know a lot about, ask it questions about it. You will see errors immediately.
Yeah.
Big errors. I had people in my industry using this stuff to draft legal documents and thought that it would go unnoticed.
No.
And I don't know why they thought that. But there's no undoing that once it gets into a judge's hands, you know. No. It's like this person got charged with contempt. And it's like, did he spit out a couple things and look at it at all, or did he just he's like, oh, this thing was answering my questions?
Yeah. I'm forgetting,
I bet it's good enough to write a whole thing.
I'm forgetting which case, but Legal actually did something on this where I think it was in Georgia. An attorney's office submitted legal briefs that were 100% generated with AI, and inside their statements, their sworn statements that were sworn to be accurate, they cited cases that don't exist. The AI literally made up case law.
Yeah.
And the judge held them in contempt and threw the book at them because you are responsible for 100% of the accuracy of the data that you submit. And they didn't vet it. They didn't verify it. They didn't go back and check. They didn't look up these books, these numbers, these cases. And it turns out the AI was literally just making crap up as a means to an end. The lawyer's prompt was, hey, has there been any case that XYZ was found innocent or guilty, or where this was a thing relevant to my case? And the AI went, of course there was. Back in 1997, there was this one case that was tried in here by the judge. And so it generated a pattern that matched legalese and cited a case number but it turns out the book and the case number and the year and the date and the judge, none of that existed. That was all pattern-based.
Yeah, incredible. Why would you stake your career on that? And I don't know, I guess that's the problem to me, is that the people that are so gung-ho on using this type of stuff, they're just showing such a disregard for not even just their time, but other people's time. How many people read those legal briefs until they realized that it was all garbage?
Yeah.
You have just exhibited such a disrespectful disregard for so many people's times.
Yeah.
And that's all I could think when I had a colleague doing this, and I was looking at these papers, and I was just like, this isn't even close to the facts of what happened.
Yeah.
An elementary school child could get closer to the facts than this got.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just bonkers to me. And it's and in line with some of this stuff too. Did you see the story about, I think it was on Tom's Hardware, one of their contributors or somebody over there found that
I'm on my show, Kira.
Found that Gemini was dissecting their private PDFs and things like this without being asked to, and was therefore obviously scanning documents that they had no intention of showing to anything or exposing to any platform like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was alarming to this person was he went into the settings after dealing with customer service and found that he had that setting switched off, and Gemini did it anyways. Which, again, blatant disregard. So anyway,
Yep.
it's all downhill from here, Jeff.
It
Buckle up.
really is. It really is.
Until, I mean, I'm glad that consumers are standing up and they're saying, no, we're not going to spend money on this shit.
And we don't want this.
But how much longer until the market forces stop pushing it down our throat?
We're in an interesting position right now. Because typically, what has happened is we develop products for enterprise, and those products trickle down to consumers.
Yeah.
But oftentimes, the functionality of the product is aligned in one way or another. Where Intel starts putting, and AMD start putting more cores into their CPUs, and that shows up in enterprise first. We get bigger and better CPUs for servers. And then eventually that trickles down and we get more CPU cores and better technology in the consumer lineup of things. And those cores can be put to use doing consumer-based tasks. Graphics, same kind of thing, where yes, graphics are developed to use DirectX 12 and Vulkan API and things like that, where those APIs aren't necessarily utilized in enterprise. You still use OpenGL, and you're still developing an architecture to use certain pathways and certain math and certain instruction sets to an end, where enterprise will use it for machine learning and consumers will use it for graphics rendering. But it's the same core technology. We're seeing a split and a differentiation now between what enterprise needs the hardware to be, the direction that the hardware development needs to go to further suit AI and machine learning tasks, and the usability on the consumer side of things. They almost need to be two different products now. AI's top, or NVIDIA's top dogs, the Hopper, the H100, the H200, the Blackwell cards. The core architecture of those cards on the high-end enterprise space, those are architected differently, so they don't even render DirectX 12 or Vulkan. They're not compatible with those APIs and those instruction sets because they don't need to be, because AI doesn't take advantage of those. And so they've actually split off functionality, and they're developing cards specifically for enterprise use. However, the companies are still trying to shoehorn the NPUs from processors and things into the consumer space that have no function in the consumer space right now, and probably won't for years. But they still want to charge us for the development of those parts.
Amazing. Remember when companies used to develop things on their own dime?
Right?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's an incredible time in capitalism that we've reached.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all I'll say about that.
Anyway, it is 10 past the hour.
Woohoo!
It's been a good show. Hope everyone has a wonderful week. I hope it's less eventful.
Yeah. Less events, please.
I think I speak for my entire generation, where from the day I turned 14, I'm really tired of going through once-in-a-generation events every 2 years.
Yeah.
I've been through 3 of the the three worst economic recessions since the Depression in my adult life. I have been through a once every 100-year plague. I have been through. I am so tired of this, and then the events of the weekend notwithstanding either. Man, remember 2008? Well, sorry, remember 2007? 2007 was great. Can we get a couple more years like that? Can we get an economic boom and a new iPhone? Like, and that's the all the news to talk about?
And
like, can we just go back then?
All of the news about war crimes in the Middle East were slowing down. You know, I mean, they were happening. We just didn't have to read about them all the time.
Right.
Like, simpler times, man. Simpler times.
Yeah. Hope everyone has a great week. In the
you
meantime,
could post to Twitter from your phone.
Yeah. We called it Twitter.
Via text. I hate that that's so funny, but yeah.
It's a different world, Rett.
It is.
Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. The show doesn't have a sponsor, but it could be you. Head on over to craftcomputing.store, pick up one of our nucleated pint glasses. We've got coffee tumblers, we've got coasters, we even have minimalist wallets that would make even the most minimalist of your friends jealous. They're actually pretty awesome. Join the Discord by joining the Patreon. Link is also down in the video description. Join the awesome chat that happens over there. Keep talking with us all throughout the week. We're always in chat, and as a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to the after party, which happens immediately after every episode of Talking Heads. You can voice chat with us live. It's always a fantastic time. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't done so already. I've got a video posting probably in a couple of days that is going to be pretty darn epic if you catch my drift, so make sure you're subscribed. And if you've ordered an Axe Effect, they start shipping tomorrow. I'm literally spending like the first 4 hours of my day tomorrow packing envelopes, so
woohoo!
Should be fun. Should be a lot of fun.
Excellent.
Rhett, anything good to the order before we close?
Oh, nothing good hey, follow what I'm doing. You can listen to my Dungeons and Dragons podcast every week on Monday. Go to dndpodcast.org. You can kind of follow along with projects that I'm doing at redisawesome.com from time to time, but things have been quiet lately. But like Jeff said, too, you can go see a video of my band performing live, the Marion Berries. If you click on my YouTube account here on the video that you're watching, I'm in the chat somewhere, I think. You can go and watch videos of my band performing and stuff, and there'll be more. Editing a lot of those videos lately, so or go to themarionberries.com.
Nice. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you next week.
Cheers.
Have a good week. Every week he does this. See, your mic is still on.
Yeah.